Nothing about this prehistoric whale killer is normal. Here's why you are floating in a warm, shallow sea 12 million years before anyone will name it Peru. The water is bright with sardines. A slow shadow rises from below, longer than a school bus. Then the mouth opens. Teeth surface first. Each one is longer than your forearm, thicker than a soda can, and there are rows of them in both jaws. Nothing alive today grows teeth like that. This is the largest biting predator ever measured, and somehow that is not the strangest thing about it. Start with the mouth. The mouth is where the ocean made its mistake. In 2008, a paleontologist named Klaas Post was walking through the coastal desert south of Lima in a place called the Pisco Formation. This is one of the richest fossil beds on the planet, a long stretch of dry stone that used to be an ocean floor. Sardines the size of your hand are pressed flat into the rock. Baleen whales lie half exposed in the sand, their ribs curled like the frames of buried ships. Post was not looking for a monster. He was walking a slope. He picked up what looked like a rock. It was a tooth. It was longer than his forearm. Think about that for a second. A tooth you have to hold with two hands, thicker at the base than a soda can. Enamel scarred by wear from grinding against something else over and over for years. When Post and his colleagues finished digging, they had a partial skull almost 3 meters long. That is about as long as a small car, and that was all they had. One skull, a handful of teeth. Everything else about this animal, its body length, its weight, its behavior, its life, has to be inferred from those pieces and from the shape of its living relatives. At first, people reached for the same answer everyone reaches for when they hear giant marine predator, shark, Megalodon, prehistoric killer. That is the safe guess. That is the guess the internet always gets to first. But the tooth was wrong for a shark. Shark teeth are flat, blade-like, replaced constantly through life. This tooth had a root. It had enamel worn the way a mammal's tooth wears when it grinds against another tooth. It was set in a jaw, and that jaw belonged to a whale. Hold that image, a tooth the size of your forearm. Now forget the shark you were picturing. In 2010, the team published the description in the journal Nature. They gave it a name that told you exactly what they thought they had found. Livyatan melvillei. Livyatan, from the Hebrew word for Leviathan, the monster from older stories than anyone can trace. Melvillei, in honor of Herman Melville, the man who wrote Moby Dick. They had found a sperm whale that ate other whales. And this is where the story stops being about teeth and starts being about the whole animal. Because the modern sperm whale, the one Melville wrote about, the one you have seen in documentaries diving into the abyss, has no functional teeth in its upper jaw at all. Its lower jaw carries a row of pegs it barely uses. Some individuals have been found with completely broken jaws, unable to bite anything, still perfectly well fed. The modern sperm whale does not chew. It swallows squid whole. It hunts by sound in the dark, thousands of feet below the surface, in a world where its prey is soft and slow and cannot fight back. It is enormous, quiet, and almost invisible from the surface world. It has never been photographed attacking another whale. Livyatan is in the same family, the same lineage. Pisco, the sperm whales. Picture the whale you know. Now put teeth in it. Now imagine it hunting the whale you know. That contradiction is the whole story. We have been calling a survivor by its family name and forgetting what the family used to be. The gentle giant is a descendant of a lineage that ate its neighbors. The modern sperm whale is not the peak of the sperm whale story. It is what happened after the experiment failed. Now look at the skull again, because it gets worse. Almost no large marine predator has functional cutting teeth in both jaws. Killer whales have interlocking teeth, but they are small compared to the body, and they grip more than they slice. Great white sharks work with the upper jaw doing most of the damage. Modern odontocetes, the toothed whales, have simplified their mouths across evolution. Fewer teeth, smaller teeth, sometimes none at all. Livyatan is the only known cetacean with massive functional teeth in both jaws. The upper row met the lower row. The mouth was not a bite. It was a trap. And here is the part that changes the whole picture. Teeth cost energy. Big teeth cost a lot of energy. A body grows what it needs to survive, and it does not grow more. If an animal invests in teeth like this, in both jaws, it is because it cannot make a living on anything smaller. This mouth was a bet against every small prey animal in the sea. Every fish, every squid, every seal, not worth the effort. It could not afford to eat anything smaller than a whale. The mouth chose the menu. But a mouth like this needs a head to carry it, and the head is where the story stops being impressive and starts getting strange. Because when you look at the skull from above, most of it is not bone at all. Most of it is a hole. Run your eye along the top of the reconstructed Livyatan skull. Where you expect a solid dome, there is a massive concave basin. A bowl scooped into the top of the head, bigger proportionally than in any modern whale. If the skull were sitting in front of you, you could climb into that basin. It could hold a small car. In life, that basin was not empty. It was full of oil. You have been looking at the wrong part of the head this whole time. The modern sperm whale carries the same feature. That giant, boxy forehead you see on every whaling illustration is not brain. It is a chamber packed with a waxy oil called spermaceti. It is the reason we hunted the animal almost to extinction. The oil burned cleaner than anything else on land. Lamps, soap, candles, machine lubricant. An entire 19th century industry was built on the head of one whale. But the oil was never the point for the whale. The chamber is a sound organ. Sperm whales use it to focus and fire echolocation clicks, the loudest sounds produced by any animal on Earth. Over 230 decibels underwater, louder than a rocket launch aimed like a beam. Livyatan's basin was bigger, which means, most likely, its sound organ was bigger. The teeth killed, but the head may have hunted. This is where it gets uncomfortable. Some researchers propose that modern sperm whale clicks are strong enough to briefly stun or disorient prey. This is still a hypothesis. Nobody has watched it happen in the wild, and the physics are debated, but the underlying reality is not. Sound in water does not behave like sound in air. It moves nearly 5 times faster. It carries pressure. A hard enough click at close range is not just a signal. It is a physical event. You do not just hear it, it hits you. Now imagine that beam coming out of an animal built to eat other whales. Imagine being one of those prey whales. You are moving through warm water. Nothing has attacked you. There is no chase yet. There is no smell of blood. You are singing to your calf or feeding along a plankton line, doing what your body has done for millions of years. Then you hear a sound you cannot see, a pressure wave that arrives before the body does. It is not a warning. It is a hand. It hits your skull, your organs, the water inside your lungs. Your world goes quiet in the wrong way. The ocean around you, which normally hums with movement and life, becomes a flat, ringing blank. And then the shadow arrives. Its face was a directed sound cannon with a mouth built in. Now try to picture the hunt. That is where this half of the story has to leave you, because the prey itself is the next reveal, and it is worse than you think. This animal did not chase fish. It did not compete with sharks for seals. The fossils in the same rock layers, the same Pisco formation dust, the same bay, the same sediment. Tell us what was swimming alongside it. Baleen whales, smaller than today's, in the 7 to 10 meter range, roughly the length of a city bus. Those are the prey. Those are what Livyatan ate. And here is the detail that keeps a lot of paleontologists up at night. Modern predators that hunt animals close to their own size almost always work in groups. Orcas do it in coordinated pods, taking turns, working the flanks, one holding the tail, one going for the throat. Wolves do it. Lions do it on land. Even sperm whales today travel in social units, though they do not hunt whales. Group hunting spreads the risk. It shortens the fight. It lowers the chance that the predator gets its ribs kicked in by a dying animal. Livyatan may have hunted alone. We do not have soft tissue. We do not have footage. We do not have anything to look at except the skull, the teeth, and the rocks around them. We do not know if there were pods of them working together or if a single Livyatan, using sound and teeth and body mass, could bring down a full-grown baleen whale by itself. Both possibilities are terrifying for different reasons. If it hunted in groups, then the Pisco shallows had roving packs of whale-eating sperm whales in warm, bright water, and the fossil record has only shown us a shadow of what that must have looked like. A single kill would have drawn dozens of animals to the same body. The water above it would have gone red for hours. If it hunted alone, then one animal was doing the work of an entire orca pod, one body, one mouth, one sound organ, slamming into another intelligent, air-breathing, warm-blooded animal, one that was also protecting a calf, also singing, also part of a family group, and taking it apart. This was not a predator that ate fish. This was a predator that ate its neighbors, and Livyatan was not alone at the top. There was another apex predator in the same water. You have heard its name 1,000 times, but we have been telling that story wrong too, because in this bay, in this era, the shark had a roommate, a warm-blooded one, with teeth in both jaws, 2 kings in one sea. Remember that. It comes back. The other predator in that bay was Otodus Megalodon. You know the name. Everyone knows the name. It has its own movies. Its teeth sell for thousands of dollars at auction. It is the shark that ate the ocean. And in the same warm shallows where Livyatan was hunting whales, in the same Pisco formation, in the same rock layers, we find its teeth too. Serrated, triangular, big enough to fit around a human head. For a long time, some scientists estimated Megalodon at over 18 meters. Recent studies have pulled that number down. The current consensus puts it in the 15 to 18 meter range, depending on which body scaling method you trust, which is roughly the same size as Livyatan, same water, same era, same prey. 2 apex predators the length of a bowling lane, eating the same baleen whales. You have heard of one of these animals. The other one ate the same food and nobody made a movie about it. Think about what that means for the animals living underneath them. The small baleen whales in that bay were not being hunted by one apex predator. They were being hunted by 2 from 2 different lineages, using 2 different strategies. One was cold-blooded, silent, ambushing from below, closing the mouth around a flank. The other was warm-blooded, echolocating, arriving with a wall of sound before the body did. The prey had no equivalent world today. There is nothing left of it. When we imagine prehistoric oceans, we picture bigger versions of what we know. The Miocene Pacific was not a bigger version of anything. It was a different game. The ocean had 2 kings, then it had none. Hold that. It matters in a minute. Now zoom out, because to grow 2 15-meter apex predators in the same neighborhood, you need a very specific kind of sea. The Pisco Formation shallows sat along the Pacific coast of what is now South America. Cold, nutrient-rich water was welling up from below along the same current system that would eventually become the Humboldt. Sunlight hit that cold water in the shallows, and phytoplankton exploded. Krill and small fish fed on the plankton. Baleen whales fed on the krill, seals fed on the fish, sharks fed on the seals, and at the top, Livyatan and Megalodon fed on the baleen whales. More cetacean species have been described from this one formation than swim in most modern oceans. There are dolphins we cannot classify, beaked whales, multiple baleen species, sperm whales of several sizes. It was not an ocean, it was a stadium. For a moment, forget the teeth. Look at the water. The monsters were not the strange part. The buffet was. And that buffet was fragile. Every part of it, the current, the temperature, the upwelling, the plankton bloom, the krill population, the baleen whale nurseries, was tuned to a specific ocean state. Change one variable, and the whole system slips. This is the part of the story where you have to stop thinking about a single animal and start thinking about a ledger. Livyatan was expensive. A body that size, warm-blooded, using sonar as loud as a rocket, growing forearm-length teeth in both jaws, needs an enormous amount of food. Modern sperm whales eat roughly a ton of squid a day. Livyatan was probably heavier and worked harder for its meals. Every whale it killed had to feed a body built like a submarine forever, and whales do not reproduce quickly. A baleen whale gives birth once every 2 or 3 years at best. The math is brutal. A small population of whale-eating whales hunting steadily could hollow out the demographics of an entire baleen whale nursery. Not by killing every animal, by killing enough of the young, the pregnant, the tired, the slow. The predator does not need to win every fight. It only needs to remove a certain percentage of the prey every year, and the population begins to lean and then to shrink. This is the price of being at the top. Remember, this animal chose to only eat things bigger than a truck. That choice was not free. It built itself into a corner. The bigger you are at the top, the thinner the ledge you stand on. A predator that eats 7 different kinds of fish can survive one of them crashing. A predator that eats one kind of prey has no backup plan. If the baleen whales move, it starves. If the baleen whales thin, it starves. If the shallows they breed in change temperature, it starves. Livyatan could not follow its food into any environment. It was built for warm, productive shallows, the way a Formula One car is built for one specific kind of track, and then the ocean changed the track. Toward the end of the Miocene, roughly 6 or 7 million years ago, global temperatures started dropping, Antarctic ice was expanding, ocean currents were reorganizing, upwelling zones shifted. The warm, productive shallows off the Pacific coast of South America did not stop existing, but they cooled, and the exact biological arrangement that had made them possible began to come apart. Baleen whale populations followed the food. They moved. They evolved. Some species vanished. Others got larger and started living in colder, more open water. The direction their descendants are still swimming in today. Livyatan could not follow, not because it was too weak, because it was too specialized. A body engineered for one buffet cannot chase its meals into a different ocean without becoming a different animal. And evolution does not redesign a 15-meter warm-blooded predator on a schedule. It does not build a new prey strategy in a few thousand years. It just watches the old strategy fail, and the animals holding that strategy die out. Megalodon vanished around the same time, and for many of the same reasons. Cooling seas, shifting prey, a body built for one climate meeting a different one. Neither of them lost a fight. They lost a refrigerator. The monster did not die in battle. It died of a missing meal. The ocean did not attack it. The ocean just changed the temperature. Now here is the reversal, because we have been telling this story like it is a tragedy, and part of it is. But something else was happening in the same water at the same time, and if you follow that thread, you find the strangest ending in vertebrate history. While Livyatan and Megalodon were disappearing, the small baleen whales, the prey animals, the ones being eaten from below by sharks and hit from above by whale killers, were doing the opposite of dying out. They were getting bigger. not slightly bigger, enormously bigger. Research on baleen whale evolution, including a well-known 2017 study by Slater, Goldbogen, and Pynson, suggests that the truly gigantic sizes we see in modern baleen whales are recent, not tens of millions of years old. A few million. The blue whale, at up to 30 meters and 200 tons, the largest animal that has ever lived on this planet, larger than any dinosaur we have ever found, is essentially a modern invention. It got that big after Livyatan was gone. It got that big after Megalodon was gone. It got that big in the same cooling ocean that killed them. Read that sentence again, because it is the whole point. The animals that got eaten grew into the largest animals that have ever lived. Not the killers, the eaten. The ocean did not reward the mouth with the biggest teeth. It rewarded the mouth with no teeth at all. The blue whale has no teeth. It has baleen, long plates of keratin, the same material in your fingernails, hanging from the roof of its mouth like a curtain. It opens its mouth as it swims, takes in tons of water, closes, and pushes the water out through the baleen. Krill get trapped. The whale swallows. That is the whole strategy, a body the size of a building, running on shrimp. The lesson is uncomfortable. The lineage that specialized in violence, Livyatan, with its teeth in both jaws and its sound cannon head, got locked into a shrinking system and vanished. The lineage that stopped competing for meat, that started harvesting the smallest food source in the ocean, that gave up teeth entirely, inherited the sea, and then broke every size record on Earth. The whales that got eaten became bigger than the animal that ate them ever was. Now go back to the desert, because everything you just heard, the mouth, the head, the sound organ, the two kings, the cooling ocean, the vanished kingdom, all of it rests on one partial skull and a handful of teeth. That is it. That is the whole physical evidence for Livyatan melvillei, one find in 2008, named in 2010, within living memory. The teeth in this video are almost the entire story we have. Everything else is inference, body length, diet, hunting behavior, social structure. The stunning, terrifying picture of a whale-killing sperm whale patrolling a Miocene bay. All of it is built from a skull the size of a small car and educated guesses about what the rest looked like. Think about what that implies. If one of the most terrifying predators the ocean ever built was almost erased from history by a desert, if the fossil showed up in 2008 and not, say, 2028 or never, how many others are still buried? How many are already lost? How many Livyatan-scale animals swam through the oceans of the last 100 million years and left nothing behind? We are not looking at a complete story. We are looking at the piece that survived long enough to be found. The ocean tried to forget this one. The desert kept it, barely. Now come back to the warm, shallow sea from the beginning. You are floating. The water is bright with sardines. The shadow is rising from below, longer than a school bus. You know what it is now. You know what is in its head. You know what it eats. You know it will die when the water cools. You know that the animals underneath it, the ones running from that shadow, will become the largest creatures the planet has ever produced. The shadow does not know any of that. It is just doing what its body was built to do. And here is the last piece. That head, that oil-filled chamber, that spermaceti organ, that sound cannon, is still swimming in the ocean today. The modern sperm whale still carries it. Same lineage, same tool, same physical architecture. But the mouth beneath it is different. The upper jaw is smooth. The lower jaw carries teeth it does not need. The animal uses its head to find squid in the dark, thousands of feet below the surface, in a world Livyatan never went to. The head is still there. The teeth are gone. The ocean kept the tool and threw away the killer.